In this video, I'll describe 10 critical skills for becoming a successful network engineer in the modern era. I'm currently on a team of about 20 network engineers for a large company, and I've been in networking for 7 years now, so I've seen these skills in practice. Here's the top 10. Number 1, learn how to script and automate. Make programs do your work for you. Automation is becoming a higher and higher demand skill and will save you time and make you a more valuable asset to your team and company. Automation can also help prevent human error by standardizing processes and changes. One of the top languages to know well for this is Python. It has a lot of built-in modules that can work with almost any network gear. A classic SSH module is Paramiko, which I've leveraged before for rolling out configs to hundreds of devices at a time. Additionally, many SDKs and APIs are written in Python. Other excellent tools for automation are Salt and Ansible. And not only do they integrate with network gear, but also with Linux servers, which we'll talk more about later on. There are a variety of Ansible modules for Cisco, for example. On to number 2. The modern network engineer leverages APIs. A lot of vendors provide APIs so that you can integrate your custom code with their tool or service and automate workflows. By leveraging these, you are using the certified methods for interacting with vendor software. Alright, number 3. Understand the tools at your disposal and how to leverage them. Some common ones would be SolarWinds, for example, for configuration management, monitoring, and compliance reporting, or DCNM for Cisco orchestration. There are many tools for keeping inventory, monitoring like Grafana or Kibana, managing workflows and ticket queues such as Jira, among other things. The better you understand the tools at your disposal, the better equipped you'll be to handle your day-to-day work efficiently. Number 4, understand network protocols. More and more, it's falling upon network engineers to describe application behavior on behalf of application teams, especially when they're complaining about issues. So we're often compelled to prove that the problem is not the network, as opposed to the application team proving that it is the network. It's just how it works. HTTP, SMTP, DNS, DHCP, TLS, SSH, etc., and especially the Layer 4 protocol, TCP. TCP is the basis and underlay of so much network traffic that if you understand TCP well and its operation, you will better be able to understand many traffic profiles and application behaviors that ride on top of TCP. Think about the TCP handshake, windowing, flags such as SYN, ACK, reset, FIN, retransmits, etc. Number 5. Know how to read a packet capture, probably using Wireshark. Troubleshooting often comes down to this. The packet capture will prove or disprove theories about network traffic really quick, and this is the authority for what is really going on the network. Number 6, plain and simple, know when to say no. For example, if your company policy is that no dev space is allowed to access prod, then no matter how much someone begs you to make an exception, your job is to follow the policy and leave it to management to change policy if needed. Number 7, learn cloud basics. Many companies are driving hard towards the cloud. Amazon AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Compute are some of the more popular cloud-based offerings. You will likely find a cloud presence in most companies you work for, and that will probably trickle down to the network. You might have to support connections between your on-site networks into these cloud networks, or operate services that are completely cloud-based. Alright, number 8, Linux, Linux, Linux. Linux is the backbone of so many applications, tools, and products that the better you are at Linux and systems administration type work, the better you'll be able to support and evolve the tools and systems you work with as a network engineer. I felt like I got exposure to and experience with many areas of IT in my undergrad during college, but the one area I felt the weakest at, and that would have benefited me a lot at my job, was Linux. So if you're not getting much Linux experience now, do some online training and get better at it. It will pay off whether you end up doing network engineering or some other IT role. There are plenty of Udemy courses out there for Linux, and the CompTIA Linux Plus track is a great one to pursue in order to build a solid foundation. On to number 9. Understand containerization. You're probably already familiar with virtual machines. Well, each virtual machine gets its share of resources from the host and has its own operating system, which is sometimes a lot of unnecessary overhead. Containers are similar to virtual machines, but a container does not run in its own operating system. It just virtualizes resources on a host, and many containers can be shared by one operating system while performing distinct workloads, thus removing the overhead of each container or each workload having to also have an operating system. You'll see a lot of companies leveraging containers now and in the years to come. So at least learn the basics of how these work. A load balancing platform we use at the company I work for uses Docker containers, so I've been forced to learn about it. Kubernetes is also a popular Docker container orchestration tool for managing a lot of containers at once. Lastly, number 10. The modern network engineer is always learning and knows how to and is willing to learn new things. A college professor of mine once said that if you don't continue learning in information technology, then half of what you know will be obsolete in 5 years. I've come to understand this as that if you're not always learning, you'll fade into the background at your job because you'll start falling behind with new technologies, and new technologies will always come along. To be always learning is a mindset. Adopt that mindset. All these skills complement the core networking principles, such as routing protocols like BGP, subnetting. Memorize this, guys. It makes networking easier. VLANs, tunnels, etc. So to be a successful network engineer, you need to have this foundation of networking, but on top of that, you need to have these other skills that I've mentioned, and perhaps others depending on your role. And that will make you a well-rounded, successful network engineer. Now, to be successful as a network engineer, you don't necessarily have to have a certification like CCNA, CCNP, CCIE, but you need to have this foundation. And I would recommend a level of proficiency with networking similar to about a CCNA routing and switching, at least. The more the better, but if you've got that foundation, then you can build with these other skills and be successful. Well, best of luck with your networking pursuits. I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, do me a favor and subscribe. That way I know you're interested and I can make more videos like this. Alright, thanks for watching and we'll see you later.